So Blake Lively just hit a snag in court, and an explosive audio leak just dropped that could seriously shake things up in her ongoing legal battles. Many of the same players are involved in this new drama. Here's the deal. Blake Lively is suing the agency group, including people like Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace. But get this, The Hollywood Reporter just leaked audio from a completely separate case involving Rebel Wilson. And guess who else is connected to that case? Bryan Freedman, along with some of the very same individuals Blake Lively is suing. It's a tangled web, but essentially, a woman named Amanda Ghost is claiming Rebel Wilson and her PR firm smeared her. That PR firm was reportedly repping Justin at the time. Now, the Rebel Wilson case is already complex, but this leaked audio is a game changer. It's the first time we're actually hearing the alleged voice of Jed Wallace, who some in the industry apparently call Ray Donovan, a fixer. The audio itself is pretty wild. It seems to imply, and I stress seems to imply, because we're still waiting for the other side of the story, that they were going to create evidence against Amanda Ghost. Seriously, listen to this clip. Insert audio clip. Here's the deal with Rebel, and I think you, me, and Brian, and maybe Katie, since she'll write this thing. What we have to do is, the biggest piece here, is that we have to connect Amanda Ghost with Vlatnik. And I was just like, so basically what we need to do is we need to create a path where we expose Amanda Ghost as like the new Heidi Fleiss. Like she masquerades as the reason why she sucks so bad at music is because she's actually getting hookers for Vlatnik, right? And that's what she does. She's an absolute madam. And that's why she's so lethal. Blah, blah, blah. But he's right. Like, we can't just do like, oh, she sucks. It's like it's got to be really, really heavy and connected to something that heavy. So we'll talk about that tomorrow too. Okay. So they're talking about making it sound like she's getting hookers for someone. Now, I don't know if any of that is true, and it's important to hear both sides. Things get leaked for a reason, and sometimes it's to paint people in a negative light. But from a legal perspective, this doesn't sound good at all. If that is indeed Jed Wallace, he's going to have some serious explaining to do about why he thought Amanda Ghost was hiring hookers. If he can't back that up with credible evidence, he's in deep trouble. Making stuff up like that is a huge deal, and it's a classic form of defamation, especially when it targets someone's sexuality by comparing them to someone like Heidi Fleiss. That's not a good look, and it carries very negative connotations. Now, here's where Blake Lively's case comes in. If this audio is legitimate and Jed Wallace is found to have fabricated evidence, you can bet Blake Lively's legal team is going to be salivating to use this. They'll want to introduce this as evidence in her case against the same agency group. The big question is, how much could this hurt Justin's side in the Blake Lively argument? Even if the agency group messed up in the Rebel Wilson case, it doesn't automatically mean they did the same for Justin. But Lively's team will definitely try to connect the dots. They'll argue that if this agency was willing to make up evidence in one case, it suggests a pattern of behavior that could be relevant to Lively's claims. However, Justin's lawyers will likely argue that this is too prejudicial and not probative, meaning it has nothing to do with their specific case and would only unfairly influence a jury. The judge will have to decide if the jury should even hear it. Personally, I think it might be too far removed, but you can bet Lively's team will fight tooth and nail to bring it in. Let's talk about a win for Justin's side. Blake Lively's team recently tried to get this case thrown out, citing an appeal decision from another case, Miller versus Lamanna. She argued, the court should evaluate claims based on evidence already gathered through discovery, like documented testimony, not just the written allegations in the complaint. Essentially, she's claiming there's evidence we haven't seen yet that should be the focus. To me, this move just reeks of desperation. This is definitely a desperation move. There are two ways to attack a complaint. A motion for summary judgment, which says even with all the evidence, she still doesn't have a claim, and a motion for judgment on the pleadings, which attacks the complaint itself as it was originally drafted. Blake's team can't just amend it now to make it stronger. She's trying to confuse the judge, but these federal court folks are too sharp for that. They're not going to be fooled. People often try to conflate things to survive, and that's what this looks like. Speaking of confusion, it's wild how every single move Blake Lively's lawyers make seems to pop up in People magazine almost instantly. Yet, when Justin's side fires back, you rarely hear about it. This is clearly on purpose, right? She's out there claiming a smear campaign against her, but her PR team is working overtime to control the media narrative. In celebrity cases, this kind of media manipulation is common. It's an effort to influence the national conversation and, hopefully, a future jury pool. They want potential jurors to have a positive view of Lively's efforts before the trial even begins. Jury selection for this case is going to be incredibly long because you can't have people with predetermined notions. There's the legal battle, and then there's the PR battle, and they're completely intertwined. Their PR campaign is in full effect. We just saw photos of them having PDA at a soccer match, and while TMZ is reporting on it, people are seeing right through it. These look like the most staged PR photos I've ever seen. They don't seem to be suffering much, which makes me wonder how this impacts their claims for damages. If she's not being shunned or blackballed, how damaged can she really be? This kind of evidence could be used against Lively if her case actually makes it to a jury trial. Justin's team will point to these public appearances and say, "Look, she's not that upset, but we're all here because she's telling us she's upset. Is she really?" Finally, a big win for Justin's side. The sanctions against Bryan Freedman were denied. Blake had tried to get these sanctions, claiming Freeman's statements were defamatory. But the judge decided that even if Freeman's statements weren't protected, Lively's team hadn't shown that they were substantially likely to prejudice any proceedings in this case. This is good for Justin, and it might give us a hint about the judge's leanings for the upcoming verdicts. The judge is taking this very seriously. He specifically noted that he was assuming without deciding whether Freeman's statements were protected. That's a huge caveat. It means if Lively wants to pursue those statements in a separate lawsuit, she can't use this order to claim the judge already ruled them wrong. He's basically saying, "I'm not making a decision on that. I'm just saying it didn't affect this case." It was a very clever move to prevent Lively's team from putting words in his mouth. From a legal perspective, it almost reads like, "You're whining about something that didn't matter to this case." We're expecting more verdicts any day now, so make sure you subscribe to stay updated. We'll keep you covered as soon as they come in. We are still waiting for the judge to rule on these verdicts, and it's surprising he's taken this long. It's costing everyone involved so much more money, but hopefully, we'll finally get some answers soon. Most people expect the verdicts to come in the next week or so. And that's not all. We're also going to be talking about Ron's experience in court with Kanye. You won't want to miss that. We've got part 2 of that conversation coming up, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more here.